And with that, fourth round 282, the 2020 NFL Draft Edition. There are 5 people on the screen. Charlie Hildebrand, Marcus Traxel, Nathan Stackett, David Schottenkirk. I'm here as well. A lot of people. What is this? The 10th time we've done this? I think maybe the 11th.
11th if we date back to the radio show.
2010. This is 2012. A decade of destruction, as the Undertaker would say. We're all here. Let's all clear the air. Mr. Schottenkirk, your thoughts on Mr. Stacken? We should, I guess, let Mr. Stacken go first. 6 million people watched the thing about the Bulls and Michael Jordan on Sunday. You were not one of them.
Nope.
Obviously, I like the Bulls. They were my team. They still are my team. I like Michael Jordan. I like North Carolina because of Michael Jordan. I thought, whether you're a fan or not, I thought it was pretty good. Part 2 of 10. This does not interest you.
Yeah, I'm not saying that it's not good, and it's not in like. I'm sure it's very good. There's a lot of thorough information in there. I'm just not all that interested in the last year of Michael Jordan's Bulls career.
This is his entire career.
No, because he played for the Wizards after that.
No, this isn't. Well, maybe they'll mention it at the end, but this basically, they talk about his last year, but we're what? Like 10 games into the last season. This is all about him. Scottie Pippen wanted to get traded. It goes back and forth between his rookie year. So this is like a chronological Jordan thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if they kind of missed the boat on that a little bit. But why do you think everybody else is interested in this?
Because it's Michael Jordan. He's the greatest basketball player of all time. He's better than LeBron James. He's one of the best athletes of all time. It's the Chicago Bulls. They were a dynasty for so long. A lot of unique personalities like Dennis Rodman on the team. You got Scottie Pippen, of course. You got Phil Jackson. You got Tony Kukoc. Was Tony Kukoc on that team? I feel like it was.
Ahmed says show some respect to Tony Kukoc.
I think he won, isn't he? Sometime later. I hope.
Don't forget,
I'm sure he is.
Yeah. Yep.
Ahmed's acting like Tony Kukoc was banned from participating in this film. I don't think that's accurate. So
was Luke Longley on that team?
Oh yeah. Like all the guys on the team.
Yeah, it's just
he likes me.
Second, this keeps going. Now you're more and more interested in it. Now you're gonna have to watch.
No, not going.
See why they call Jerry Krause a fat piece of shit all the time.
Drums.
I gain more insight from this show watching the Dan Le Batard show than I probably would watching the documentary. Like the Space Jam guy is Jerry Krause. So
yeah, kind of looks like him. Schottenkirk, was good. Fantastic program.
No, it was tremendous. I, like everybody else, kind of had high hopes going in, and I was pretty thoroughly impressed with the first couple of episodes, and I hope it keeps up. And obviously, with nothing else going on, these next handful of Sundays will be rather interesting. But I didn't really necessarily realize that they were going to do the flashback and forth, and it wasn't all. I thought it was going to be, mainly focused on 97, 98, which is it is in a sense, but the flashbacks to the series against the Celtics and that kind of stuff, I thought were pretty cool. And Stacking, I'm telling you, just as a sports fan in general, and I know that you weren't a Bulls fan, and that was whatever. But if and when you do watch it, I think you'll get a heck of a lot more out of it than you think you're going to.
Okay.
I think a big part of this is also kind of why Jordan agreed to do this. I mean, a whole generation has passed now that has not seen him play live. So, for a lot of people, he's just the shoe guy, or he's the old guy, or he's the crying meme, and he's the guy that owns the Hornets. And to sort of reintroduce how good he was and what kind of player he was for good and bad, because I don't think he's going to come off as a tremendous teammate, but that's certainly okay. I think that's why it's important to have this. And honestly, as somebody who has cable in this period and has ESPN when there's not any sports to be shown, I kind of feel obligated to watch The Last Dance. And so far, like David said, it's been worth it through 2 episodes. So,
Charlie,
interesting stories. I would imagine Krenz is the most knowledgeable of the Bulls in the Michael Jordan era. but we probably all know a fair amount of stuff. There was a fair amount of stuff they said on the first 2 episodes. I mean, there was a lot of it I knew. There was a lot I didn't know either. Like, Krenz, had you heard the story of? I mean, I knew that he broke his foot his second year. I had no idea that he was basically scrimmaging against North Carolina. Which, could you imagine today if, like, 2 years from now, Zion was hurt and they're like, "Oh yeah, actually, he's just playing 3-on-3 against Duke right now." Like, wait, what?
Yeah, I maybe heard that, but that it was.
Well, and today that wouldn't happen because you'd have people Instagramming it or tweeting it or whatever, and yeah, the fact that he could just go back to UNC and play ball, and the guys in Chicago had no idea. I mean, that's pretty crazy.
Well, I mean, it could happen one day, and then it would not happen again after that one day. But for that one day would be pretty wild.
They kind of glossed over, but the most underrated funny part of that whole thing is they got back and the doctor's like, well, damn, your injured foot's actually stronger than your non-injured. Yeah. Or, it was his calf, wasn't it? Or what was it?
It was his foot. Yeah, like his whole bottom part of his leg got stronger.
Yeah.
Charlie, is it fair to say there's never been a team like this popular, or whatever you want to call it? I mean, every Saturday and Sunday it seemed like on NBC they were on. I mean, you were what, 11 years old when this happened?
Last year, I would have been, when they won their last title in '98. I would have been 12. I was in 6th grade.
You remember a lot of that?
I remember much more of the second 3 than the first 3.
Hey, I don't remember.
The biggest thing, now, obviously, we're all from the upper Midwest. I'm not going to pretend like I know what every kid in Los Angeles or New York was thinking necessarily, but they seem to be the most universally popular team that at any point you could be like, oh yeah, I like this team. And people be like, oh yeah, I get it, as opposed to like, oh wow, now you like this team because they're really good already. And it was just like, oh yeah, I get it. Everybody likes the Chicago Bulls right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I, like many people, did like the Chicago Bulls, and about a year or 2 after Jordan left, was like, you know what? I'm going to switch to a team that's not this terrible anymore right now.
I saw a picture. I don't think Patrick Ewing has been on it yet, but maybe he was in college period. I'm sure he'll be on it again. And he's a Georgetown coach right now, so he had the Georgetown polo, and he had Michael Jordan's logo on his shirt as well.
Yeah.
Try to beat your ass for the numerous titles he now owns your school, kind of.
Kind of tells you how that era that Ewing played in went, when considering one guy's logo's on the shirt that he now has to wear. So,
yes. Schottenkirk, what have you been watching during this time of nothing to watch? Talked a couple weeks ago about you got the old games, you got video games out there. Amon's been going all YouTube crazy with stuff.
Yeah, quite honestly, I've been staying away from some of the replays of some of the older games that they've been showing on a few networks. I haven't been watching a whole lot for sports content. I've been into some Netflix stuff and some series and some actual primetime television for the first time in a while. But it's really weird to have absolutely nothing to really sink your teeth into from a sports fan's perspective.
Marcus, the longer and longer this goes, I don't think we're going to have basketball. I don't think we're going to have baseball. We might have football. But at this point, I mean, states are starting to open, but I don't see this going well. I just don't see things happening here for a while. April, May.
I agree. I saw that there was a prop bet that was out there on whether or not the NHL, I could find it, to be honest, whether or not they'd start playing by August 1st, maybe it was July 1st, and that they would is the favorite. Let me see if I can find it real quick.
How late can you go?
Talk amongst yourselves by all means. But
Charlie, how late can the NBA or hockey go until it's like, we just got to call it quits and maybe go for next season, and this fall doesn't look any good either? I mean, they only got
I found it.
a couple weeks to go here. So what are the odds?
Will the next NHL game be played August 1 or sooner? Yes, -200. No, +150 on that. So my thinking is that they will have some sort of hockey playing before August 1st. But right now they're talking, and I had this discussion with David. Sorry. I've known you for 10 years and I still call you David. Can't call you, just can't do it.
It's all good. It's all good.
I had this discussion with him. The NHL's goddamn insane if they think we're going to be off for 6 months and then they're going to come back and play 10 regular season games and then go to the playoffs. It's like, just call it now and let's start whatever playoffs you need to start whenever we get going. Because it's ridiculous. I understand that you may need a couple games to get going, but maybe they need to be exhibition games, because I think it's ridiculous that you give the idea that the Detroit Red Wings are going to come back and play 6 meaningless games and then, shut it back down. So I think the NBA will have a good chance of coming back, but it's going to have to be the whole lock them up in a gym somewhere and just play until it's done. And, everybody's talking about testing. I don't even think there's enough thermometers and there's enough, all the equipment that you need to sort of monitor people continuously for a couple months. I don't think it's realistic. And but I'd like to see him give it a shot. But there was some league either in Japan or Korea that played basketball for like a week and then they had to shut it back down because they had people getting sick again. So I just think it's going to be a really long shot. I think football will happen at some point, even if it starts in October or November. And the NFL will play the Super Bowl in March if they have to. But I think there will be football. It's just, are they willing to wait till next spring to finish it?
We've been live for almost 12 minutes, and I've been relatively tame. So I got a couple hot takes for you here. But the NFL is going to start on time. I don't think there's any question. I think they're going to be good to go. It just signs to me, and some of the ownership being buddies with Trump, and I think Trump's going to basically tell them, "You guys go full go, make it work. Whatever you have to do, we'll be behind you." I think college football is going to start probably sometime in October. They're going to need a little bit of a modified, spring camp. It's obviously going to be in the summertime, so I don't see them starting on time. I think they'll have a little bit of a condensed season, maybe cut out a game or two, and potentially have an opening for a expanded playoff. If you're ever going to do it, this might be the year to at least for a test run. And I look forward to basketball coming back and there being a modified playoff, so we can forever debate, was LeBron's 4th title legitimate or not?
I think you're right about college football, and that there's a shortened schedule and potentially modified postseason. I mean, is there going to be a reason to play 40 bowl games at the end of this season? I'd say probably not.
Oh, yeah.
And I think Stuart Mandel threw out the idea of playing basically the playoffs, college football playoffs, and the Final Four at the same time next April. That's pretty wild. But I think you don't like it. You don't like it at all. From a personal standpoint, it kind of stinks because this is the year SDSU is supposed to play at Nebraska, and I would doubt that game's going to happen. If there's going to be games that are going to be cut, it might be those money games. But who really knows what they're going to end up doing? Because Nebraska wants as many home games as they can get, because those are big money makers.
Are you?
But there's not going to be a crowd, I imagine. So it's complicated.
I think if they push back the college football season, then what they should do is push college basketball back so you can do May Madness instead of March, just for 1 year.
It doesn't have to be alliterative.
It does. It does.
In June.
It has to roll off the tongue, Marcus. It has to roll off the tongue. I don't want college football going on at the same time as March Madness and stuff. I think
it'd be wild. It'd be wild for 1 year. Yeah.
The April anarchy.
That's right.
Ooh.
There we go.
So you're telling me SDSU is not going to have a chance to play Tarleton in November?
I think that game might come off the books. Let Boots know. So
that means Boots won't come up.
Cancel your plane.
Thank God.
Cancel your plane ticket. Stacking, you've got a couple more episodes in the Tiger King. I think everybody here has seen the whole deal.
Yep.
You're going through it there. Updated thoughts from Tuba?
Carol Baskin definitely killed her husband. She's a
that bitch Carol Baskin.
Yeah, she's bad. I think
what, motherfucker.
I think Joe Exotic had a role in the fire that killed some of his alligators. I'm not saying that he directly did it, but I'm thinking he maybe told someone to do it. He had a hand in it, no doubt about it, because for the producer to put essentially his savings his retirement account into that project, and then
Oh, yeah,
for it to go all up in flames.
Okay, but I got to point this out because this is one of my big issues with this whole thing. Okay, so he says everything got burned in the
Not everything.
Yeah, like
Not
how do you
everything.
not?
Because we
back
got
it up?
all this footage.
Yeah.
We got all this footage that still is kind of behind the scenes. I don't get that. I imagine some of it was published to YouTube, and maybe that's where some of it's coming from. But it's like there's still a lot of footage here that obviously didn't get burned up. So that seems a little sketchy to me.
I think I heard that because of the popularity of the show that they are reopening the case regarding Carol's missing husband. So that's good. We're just getting to the episode now where we get introduced to the investor who seems like a real asshole. So
You're gonna love it.
Oh,
You're gonna love it.
Just wait.
Second, I think it's funny that you said you're through 3 or 4 episodes.
through 4 episodes.
It's funny that since you've not finished it, that you brought up the alligator place getting burned down. I had completely forgotten that happened.
Yeah.
Because there's so much crazy stuff that I'm not disputing anything that you said, but I was just like, oh man, I forgot all about that.
I just remember.
It becomes such a non-factor by the end.
Right.
It's just like, oh yeah, that was just another crazy thing that happened.
It was just the one thing in the last episode that really like you remember and they talked a lot about. So and Doc Antle is he's the leader of a cult, no doubt about it. He's awful. It's despicable. It really is.
He's disputing his degree in mystic science.
Yes, I want to know how the lady who lives in Iowa now. I want to know how she escaped.
Long tunnel. Very long tunnel.
I'm sure she just decided, hey, I'm not doing your stuff anymore, and that was the end of it. I don't know.
I'm surprised he didn't feed her to the tigers.
Yeah, the longer I'm away from it, my favorite moment in the whole episode is the lady getting the guy, whatever, getting her arm ripped off, and
Best thing ever.
Joe putting on the bomber jacket, the EMS bomber jacket, and saying that he'll never financially recover from this. It's just amazing. I can't get enough of it.
The most long-lasting thing from this, like 10 years from now, is people using the "I will never financially recover." Like that's going to live on for the rest of eternity.
Oh, and that's the other thing too. How does Joe Exotic only pay his employees $150 a week? Like that's
crazy. He pays them more than any of the other people.
I know, and it's deplorable.
He's letting them take whatever they want off the meat truck from Walmart.
Oh yeah, the spoiled meat. That's thank God.
My number 2 contender, and it is close. It's almost a 1A and a 1B. Is the jet ski in the final episode? Stacking, you'll see it.
Boy.
But man alive, that's amazing.
Stack, I'm going to say something. Tell me if you've seen this. If you haven't, I won't bring the rest of it.
Okay.
Have you heard the phrase "sardine oil" used yet?
Nope.
Oh my goodness!
But I know the cats and kittens, and that came from that bitch Carol Baskin.
That bitch Carol Baskin.
What does your wife think?
She is amazed that there are people that treat tigers like this. Like she thinks it's rather disgusting. But
are we talking Dabo Sweeney or are we talking Tiger King?
Talking Tiger King.
Okay.
I mean, you come away from it, you don't feel good about any of the characters in there. You don't feel good about the people that are supposedly trying to save the tigers, the people that are selling the tigers. Nobody comes off very well in it. So
Carol Baskin is an absolute hypocrite, though, because her tigers are in arguably the worst conditions out of any of them.
That's true.
She's a bitch.
She's awful, manipulative.
Hey, all you cool cats and kittens.
Yeah.
And you could argue she's got some cult stuff going with the way that she gets people to
They
show
don't
up.
pay him anything.
Yeah, and she doesn't pay him anything, and they all watch her videos and stuff. It's wild.
It's
And my question a couple weeks ago was, how did nobody pick this show up? They were looking for somebody to pick up, Joe Exotic, Tiger King bullshit. How did no garbage television executive look at this awfulness and goofiness and say, yeah, give me 10 episodes of this stupid asshole?
I mean, it's so wild that it kind of hit the perfect, everything came together perfectly for this, and as part of it is the genius of Netflix is, they dropped it when nobody had anything to do, and it just took off like Making a Murderer and all these other things that they seem to master. And I mean, if this was on Animal Planet or A&E Discovering, would we watch it? I don't know. Would this be on Animal Planet? I actually have no idea.
I don't think this would be on Animal Planet. Yeah.
I think ASPCA would be all up in that bit.
Like, they were trying to get his little show on the air for years, his little YouTube whatever. And how did no network pick that up and just, follow him around and his whatever the hell? I mean,
do you think a major network is going to throw money at this?
Like TLC or
based off some of the stuff, I kind of agree with friends. When you think about it, I'm quite surprised that like VH1 too isn't like, you know what, we'll give this show a shot.
Like, shows out there, My 600-Pound Life, My 1,000 Family, Pimple Popper. These.
But what I'm saying is that I don't watch those shows, and neither do you. So if you saw this on the channel guide, would you watch it? I mean, I think because it's on Netflix, that's why it's taking off.
But can't we say that the pandemic is the reason why this is so popular? Like, if
that's the other part of it. Yeah,
I think that's like half the reason. I think this show still would have been kind of a big deal either way.
It would have, but we wouldn't be talking about it nearly as much if the playoffs are going on and we had the NCAA tournament. That we just wouldn't. No one would be watching, or fewer people would have watched it or would be watching it.
Probably fewer. I think it'd still be popular. I mean, you got 10 ghost shows on TV. You got stupid shit on TV.
Yeah, we got Vikings on whatever History
I
Channel.
know. You got this Viking show, this documentary. We're kidding you, Stack. We're kidding.
So look on his face. My goodness.
Talking shit about my show.
Great. It's a great show. Great show.
Second, the look you made is the one we all made when we heard you had not watched the Jordan documentary.
That's exactly right.
Yep.
Amen.
There you go.
Cats and Kittens mock draft. Bengals are number 1. They're going to pick a quarterback, Marcus. It started off here. What do we got? Somewhat of a Northern draft.
I mean, it's a good thing that we didn't give this to Charlie because he's already stated his intentions with Jordan Love. So I imagine he'll be the next quarterback taken off the list. No, so I just went kind of random order and took the liberty of setting the draft order. I gave David Schottenkirk the Jaguars picks, right? They have 2 picks.
Sure do.
I gave Charlie Hildebrand Miami. They have 2 or 3 picks.
3 picks.
3 picks. My God.
As of now, we'll see how many they get tomorrow.
They could end up with no picks or 5 picks by the end of Thursday night. And then I split the Vikings picks. Travis and Stacken will have to play nice between the 2 of them. 1 pick each. So then anybody else who had the general order. Oh man, we got the echo.
Got the echo.
Texas.
Hello?
Texas is back.
Really?
Okay, better. That's better. Okay. So the general order is myself, then Charlie, then Stacken, then David, then Travis. That will depending on who's got double pick teams. But yeah, I've got Cincinnati to start. We won't spend much time on them. They need a quarterback. They don't have Andy Dalton anymore.
But they still
do they still have Andy Dalton?
They still have Andy Dalton. He's still on the roster.
I just figured he was
Someone
going.
at work asked me that today too. I was like positive they had gotten rid of him, but apparently
Okay, well, I mean, at least take him out back and put him down. I mean, let's not make him live.
Trade him to New England.
I don't buy the idea that they would take anybody else other than Joe Burrow at quarterback. You could make the argument that Chase Young's the best player and that they take Chase Young, but I don't think that's going to happen. And Joe Burrow, I mean, he's had one great year, one amazing year. So he will be challenged in Cincinnati playing on a team that, as Peyton Manning pointed out over the weekend, deserves to have a number 1 pick. They've earned it. And Joe Burrow will be the number 1 pick on Thursday.
So since his name's Joe and he's going to a Big Cat team, is he basically Joe Exotic, the Tiger?
He is Joe Exotic. I can't wait for that to be the headline in the Cincinnati Enquirer on Friday.
Unbelievable. Schottenkirk, Washington.
That or he'll be Joe Exotic after he gets caught with a stripper or something, or
Oh boy.
an escort. So
Pete Rose's wife or somebody. Schottenkirk.
The Redskins at number 2 are in the weird position of having the absolute the key to the cast to get to the best prospect in the draft. There's no way, unless they trade down, which is more possible than I think a lot of people believe. I think the Chargers and Dolphins are a gigantic game of chicken right now, trying to get up to 2 or 3 for the quarterback that they want. But perfect. They take Chase Young, the best.
That's Stacken's phone?
Yeah,
there is a trade. There is a trade happening.
Oh.
Wow.
All right, there we go.
All right.
Chase Young, defensive end, Ohio State, Redskins. Don't fuck it up.
Skins. Nathan
This is
Stacken.
what I would say if I was the Dolphins, I would, without a shadow of a doubt, try to trade up to number 2 and take Chase Allen because I think he's the safest guy. I don't trust the Dolphins doing anything smart, though, so I don't think they're going to do that.
Chase Young, you mean?
Stacken, you got
One thing I wanted to ask here before we get too far along. Do we want like a periodic update of the best players left? Because I know we've had in past years where we get going and then all of a sudden
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
we leave like
That's not a
Devin
bad
Matt.
idea.
We leave like Devin Matt or what was it? Devin
Devin Bush.
Devin Bush, yeah, he went undrafted
Yeah.
in the first round. So, and he was like the 11th best player. So,
Yeah.
I will just drop in with the Mel Kiper big board and who's the best player left. So, go ahead.
All right. Well, speaking of Mel Kiper here, Detroit Lions on the clock. Darius Slay. Darius Slay no longer with the Lions. So I think with the Lions here, they are going to go look in the secondary. And with the 3rd pick, I think they're going to take Jeff Okudah, the cornerback from Ohio State. Here's a guy with lots of speed. Look at the way that he gets in on the ball, breaks up a lot of passes. He's the best cornerback in college football, without a doubt. The Detroit Lions have to go here with Jeff Okudah, Okudah, excuse me. I'm so excited here with Mel Kiper joining us so Detroit Lions, Jeff Okudah.
We will all find out how his name is said tomorrow night when we watch the draft. But then it's not worth we're learning. So
That's how I was when Ndamukong Suh got recruited by Nebraska. It wasn't until I heard his name in the game that I knew how it was actually pronounced.
Last couple of years, Mel Kiper's hair, it's you've seen it not be great. Seen the prime Mel Kiper hair.
what are you saying here? What are you saying?
I mean, he's getting older, and it's not as much hair.
He's losing his fastball.
You don't do anything else. So.
But I got the pumpkin pie, no whipped cream at all. I don't go to the bathroom during the draft. That's what it's all about.
His bladder just shot to shit. Shot.
Yeah.
John,
At this point, it's not a feat of strength anymore. Now it's just a testament to depends because that's on to make sure he doesn't have to go to the bathroom.
couldn't take a piss if you wanted to without a pill. Giants seem prime on taking a offensive lineman here. There's like 5 offensive linemen that are kind of the top 15 or so might get picked. I guess you're going to go with the Iowa guy, Tristan Wirfs. That's the guy I've seen picked most often in these mock drafts. So let's go with this Iowa dude. For number 4, Charlie, the Dolphins. The Dolphins, they need a quarterback. Rumors today they're going to trade up to take a tackle, which seems completely unnecessary. They've got a lot of picks. They've got 3 first-round picks. Who do you think they're picking here, number 1? And do you think they're trading?
First things, I got to say, it is my all-time favorite thing looking at all these mock drafts and seeing, the Dolphins need a good left tackle and a safety. It's like, if only they would have had both of those recently before they got rid of both of them. I think they need a lot of stuff. I think they're going to go quarterback here. I think they're going Tua.
Good.
Tua's an interesting thing. I think he's going to be boom or bust, not like some guys because they might pan out or might not pan out. I think he's good, but he just might get hurt. So it just depends if he can stay healthy. If he can stay healthy, I think he can be good. I do not trust my Dolphins to keep him healthy, though.
Charlie, do you consider this Culpepper Breeze sort of scenario 2.0? Where the risk reward factor is maybe like they went with the safer option with Culpepper. They chose not to go with Drew Brees in the shoulder. It's kind of similar to this. Do you maybe go with the safer option with Justin Herbert or the boomer bust, as you say, with Tua?
I get what you're saying, but I think Justin Herbert's going to be terrible regardless of who he plays for, unless he goes to New England, because they'll find a way to make anybody good. But so I get what you're saying, but I don't think it's the same because I don't think Herbert's going to be good anywhere. I mean, I don't think he's going to be like an all-time bust, but I don't think he's going to be a guy that 3 years from now we're like, you know what? That Herbert guy's really tearing it up right now.
Tua goes 5, 2 quarterbacks in the top 5. Marcus, we go to you. Number 6, the Chargers are on the clock.
The Chargers are sad to see Tua go off the board. They certainly would have taken him in this position. Echoing what GM Charlie Hildebrand from Miami said, LA also does not like Justin Herbert. I mean, he's tall. Thank God he's tall. Everybody loves that. But agile guy and an okay runner, but he was not very accurate last year and did not play in a particularly pro-friendly offense. And let's all remember that he probably could have been a very high pick if he would have come out last year in the draft. So it is a little confusing. I don't know if the Chargers should. The Chargers are not going to take Jordan Love, and I'm just going to get this out of the way that anybody who takes Jordan Love in this draft, Charlie be damned. You're asking for it. I don't think he's very good. I don't think.
After loves him, I think he sucks.
Yeah, I don't think he's good. He regressed last year as well, although they did have a change in offense. So I think in reality, I don't think the Chargers will let Justin Herbert go past them, and that will be the pick here. Although I do think offensive tackle has to be considered. So Justin Herbert will be the pick, even though I'm very skittish that that's a good idea.
It's not a sexy pick, and they're in LA, a new stadium. They're going to have to get someone that can sell some.
That's why they wanted Tua.
Yeah.
That's why they wanted Tua.
Yep. By the way, Chargers uniforms, A++.
Terrific. They did terrific. Yeah,
that's gonna be their best pick all week.
That's exactly right.
Probably.
Of all the, I mean, for me, like accuracy is the one big red flag that pops up with a lot of guys that I don't like. They're not accurate. And we got a couple guys here, and Love and Herbert, who have not been accurate throwing the ball. Is there any other metric that you look at that you don't like, other than because I look at accuracy and I'm like, well, you're completing 55, 58% of your passes. I don't like that.
If you go look at Jordan Love's numbers from 2018 and then you look at his numbers from this year,
Yep.
I think like 95% of that could probably be attributed to the new offense. He lost a couple weapons or whatever. I'm higher on Love than quite a few people. Quite honestly, I think he upside wise, I think he might be the second best quarterback in the draft.
His numbers were very good in 2018. 19, he had 20 touchdowns, 17 picks. That's a little too Jameis Winston for me right now, so I'm out on that.
Charlie, Carolina, it's 7.
My deep mock draft dive that I've been working on for 3 weeks here, aka an hour ago. How many needs the Carolina Panthers have. Claimed the biggest is defensive line.
Oh,
I am going with the Auburn defensive tackle, Derek Brown, who I believe also wore number 1, I think. And I just always kind of like defensive linemen that have single-digit numbers. Those are always fun. And also he's really good at Auburn, too.
He happens to be a massive human, and he was not a major factor in the Outback Bowl victory by my beloved Golden Gophers, but he was pretty damn good. So,
Gophers, by the way, 6th best recruiting class in the country currently.
How about them fucking cojones?
you're
Let's go.
goddamn right. Roll that boat, bitch.
unbelievable.
Easy to row the boat when no one else is out on the lake because of Corona.
Well, that's true. That's definitely true.
Nathan Stacken, we go to you. We go to the desert with the Arizona Phoenix Cardinals. Who do you like?
What?
Don't do it to me. I know who you're gonna take. Don't do it to me. The Jags want who you're gonna take.
Yeah, well, too bad, David Schottenkirk. I tell you what, you look at the Arizona Cardinals could go a couple of different ways here. Offensive tackle, really protect Kyler Murray. I think they could even maybe go for a Jerry Jeudy. They could go for one of these wide receivers to really just make that offense explosive. But you have a physical specimen like Isaiah Simmons right here, linebacker from Clemson. I don't know how he's not, the Giants I thought would be a great spot for him. They didn't take him. This is as far as he slides. They got to go with Isaiah Simmons. He's so versatile. He could go all over the field. Cardinals are going to take Isaiah Simmons, linebacker from Clemson.
Charlie wants the Dolphins to take Chase Young first. Charlie wants the Dolphins to take Isaiah Simmons second if Chase Young. But I don't think that's what's going to happen.
Is that did I snipe?
I'll
your
say
player?
this. Yeah, you sure did. I'll say this: the two most likely Hall of Famers, and this isn't obviously breaking news, but the two most likely Hall of Famers in this class are Chase Young and Isaiah Simmons. I don't think there's any question about that. But
I like them.
I thought
Jacksonville at 9. They've got 20 holes to fill everywhere, particularly defense, and a couple of good defensive guys have just gotten taken. So, do you go offensive line here? There's not a whole lot of defense left. Maybe go cornerback. Maybe. What do you do?
yeah, I think if this is the way the board breaks, which it very likely could, I think they're going to take the best offensive lineman left and take Jedrick Willis from Alabama. They would obviously love Derek Brown. They would love Isaiah Simmons. There's a couple of other D tackles in the draft, but I think they have to address the O-line. Honestly, the Jags tomorrow are kind of one of the flip teams because I've heard rumors they want to go up for a quarterback. I've rumors they want to drop down and acquire more picks, but at 9, if it breaks down this way, they're going to take Jedrick Willis from Alabama.
Let's say
Also,
2.
the Jaguars have drafted recently. It seems, having freakish stud players on defense, it would make sense for Isaiah Simmons to end up playing for the Jaguars. Like, oh yeah, they got a freakishly athletic guy on defense. That's crazy that they keep getting those guys.
They were really good there a couple years ago. Let's say 2 is there at 9. Should Jacksonville take him at 9?
Yes.
If 2 is there, yeah, 1,000%.
What type of do you think he'll be available after 6? Do you think Miami and the Chargers both pass on him?
What percent chance do I give that happening?
Is that
Very, very small. I'd say less than 10% chance, maybe less than that. I think there's a couple of sneaky teams that are, like I said, the Dolphins and Chargers are playing a game of chicken right now. I would be very, very surprised if one of those two teams didn't trade up to at least 3 and potentially even 2. And I think there's a wild card team here later on. I'll mention when they're on the clock that could try to get in that game of moving up for Tua. And honestly, I didn't get a chance to early, but I'll just say this: if Tua's healthy, which is obviously an if at this point, I think Tua's clearly going to have the better professional career than Joe Burrow. That's just me.
like if the Dolphins are going to trade up here and take an offensive lineman, then one of these quarterbacks is going to fall, whether it's Herbert or Tua, past 6.
Mm-hmm.
And
If Tua gets past 6, the Patriots will be moving up in the snap of your fingers. It feels that way. It's sick. It's a sick, feeling in your stomach. But if he drops,
I can see that happening.
Well, also, what about the whole fact that they're going into this draft? And I know that there's some guys that are unsigned, Cam Newton.
they don't have a quarterback.
They do not have a quarterback right now. I mean, does that color to me that speaks to what David's saying, that this sort of colors the idea that New England, and it's totally not their character to move up, 16 picks or whatever it would be to get a quarterback, but something seems fishy about this whole setup that, they don't have a quarterback and they might want to move way up to get somebody.
Are you telling me you don't think Brian Hoyer's the answer?
Jared Stidham, I don't think Jared Stidham's the guy, no.
What the question? What's the shitty quarterback? Yes, Brian Hoyer is the answer.
Stacking stole my smart-ass joke line there. Not the same line. What I was going to say is we got to remember Tua could fall. You guys remember when he was at Alabama, there were a lot of Alabama fans worried that maybe he'd need a translator and they'd have trouble learning the offense. English coming from that foreign country of Hawaii.
The one reason why
Remember that, or am I the only one?
No, I got you.
How did he pick up English so well? This English guy.
I think that the Patriots will not trade up from 23 into the top 10 to get Tua. I think he would have to slide to say like 13 to the 49ers. I think that's the one spot where the Patriots might trade up. Remember, they didn't get Tom Brady until the 6th round. I mean, they drafted Jimmy Garoppolo in the second round. That's the highest they've ever drafted a quarterback since Tom Brady, which makes perfect sense. But I don't think Bill Belichick is going to react. I've heard Jake Fromm might be a pick for them down the road in like the middle rounds.
Fuck that.
I'm just saying that I wouldn't put it past Bill Belichick to. I mean, he's not going to trade up 17 spots.
It's funny you bring up 13. I'll just go ahead and spoil it now. I think the underrated team that's going to be in the playing of getting up in the quarterback competition is the Raiders. I think Gruden loves Tua. I think Gruden might make a move to get him at 2 or 3.
First good movie maybe made. I don't know. Oh, let's see. I've got who do I got? I got Cleveland. I got 3 fucking hats again. For fuck's sakes. Cleveland at 10. Offensive tackle is I'm taking tackles with every one of my picks here. We're going with Louisville guy, Becton at number 10. I have him the 3rd tackle taken in the top 10. Marcus, what do we got here? We got 3 quarterbacks. We got 3 tackles, a defensive end, a corner, a defensive tackle, and a linebacker.
Mekhi Becton, that's he was 6'7", 364. He's a big guy.
A lot of Papa John's, a lot of KFC.
That's the furthest down anybody on 19th on the big board. Guys that are left, number 8, Jerry Jeudy. Receiver is what's that?
Who did Shoddy take again, quick?
Jedrick Willis.
Okay.
Yes.
Who's this? This Mel Kiper big board, or whose big board is this?
This is Mel Kiper, the original Mel Kiper. I just want to say that I looked at Todd McShay's big board, and he had Jordan Love going to the Chargers at 6, and I X'd out of that because I'm not.
Never again.
I feel bad because I don't remember his name. I remember when he had the Minnesota Gophers quarterback.
Yes.
Mitch Leidner. Yeah.
He will never live that down, in my opinion.
Unbelievable.
Javon Kinglaw, the defensive tackle from South Carolina, also on the board. He's number 11. CeeDee Lamb, number 12, wide receiver, Oklahoma. C.J. Henderson, the top-ranked cornerback, still on the board from Florida. And I do believe that Andrew Thomas from Georgia, the offensive tackle, still on the board as well. So those are the top 5 as it stands right now.
You're up. The Jets. It sounds like receiver or tackle. I got him taking a receiver, but they'll probably take an offensive lineman. What say you?
Yeah, to be honest, the 2 guys that I had flagged for them at offensive tackle were Jedrick Willis and Mekhi Becton, and those guys are gone. So they basically have their pick of the top wide receiver. They should go offensive tackle, but we're not going to do that. They're going to go with the number 1 wide receiver in this draft, according to Mel Kiper. That'd be Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Jeudy from Alabama will be the pick at 11 for the Jets. You look at, their receivers are terrible. They have Jamison Crowder and they have Brashad Perriman as their main guys. So they need somebody legitimate. They probably need to have a blocker for Mr. Ghost Hunter himself, Sam Darnold, but that's not what's happening today. So, I mean, come on. I'm seeing ghosts out there.
Stacking, you got to run to the podium here. The Raiders.
There it is.
Yes.
As you pass the kids here at 8:45 at night, the Raiders, they would like a receiver as well.
I think they're going to really – I think with the Raiders here, they are going to – I'm not using Mel Kiper here right now.
Can't decide, yeah.
No, he's a GM. I can't use the analyst, and I don't know Daniel Jeremiah. So back to Mel Kiper we go here. I think when you look at the Raiders here, they're going to have their choice of wide receivers. You could go with the speedster, the Henry Ruggs III out of Alabama. I think if Al Davis were alive, I think this would be the pick. But they really love CeeDee Lamb. Mike Mayock and John Gruden have been infatuated with this guy, so they are going to take CeeDee Lamb, wide receiver out of Oklahoma. Great weapon for Derek Carr to work his magic.
Derek Carr's been in the league for 7 years, and he still gets confused with his brother who quit playing.
And has been better than his brother, too.
And he's been better than his brother. No respect.
But that's because his brother didn't have an offensive line.
I love it. I love that you got him confused. I probably would have done the same thing.
A run of receivers. Charlie, does it continue with the Super Bowl runners-up at 15?
It does. The 49ers are quite sad that they didn't get CeeDee Lamb to stop on the 49ers board. They were thinking that someone was going to make the choice between CeeDee Lamb and Jerry Jeudy, so they wouldn't have to make a choice. But it turns out that they can't get either of them, so they are settling in quotation marks for Henry Ruggs the third out of Alabama.
Hank Ruggs 3. Look at it. Anybody think these guys are going to be good? These are the top 3 guys. Anybody big on any of these 3 guys?
Ruggs and Judy are awesome. They'll be the best.
My personal 2 top receivers in this draft that I think are going to have best professional careers have not been taken yet.
Uh-oh.
I think Judy's going to be good. I really liked watching CeeDee Lamb in college, and this maybe in some ways isn't fair to say this, but there have been a lot of Oklahoma receivers over the last 20 years. So you're like, wow, this guy's a stud. And then he goes to the NFL, and you're like, wait, that was like 3 years ago. How come I haven't? Oh, he's out of the league already? Oh, I'm bad.
Alabama.
In fairness, there's about 30 receivers that have legitimate chances at having good long careers.
Wow, this is a receiver draft. Lots of guys. 6 maybe picked in this first round. We got 3 in a row. Tampa maybe not going to make it 8. So they've got Tom Brady somehow. They've got the best tight end ever again. Tampa Bay seems like offensive. This seems like one of those spots where they've got the same guy in all the mock drafts that I've seen. They've got the same guy going here at 14. Yeah.
Yeah, 43-year-old. Am I the only one getting feedback?
No,
Texas is back.
I don't hear that. Hello?
Hello?
I don't hear it.
How about now?
Still there.
Nope, still there.
It wouldn't be a mock draft without it.
Even quarantine.
How about now? Still shitty.
You make one ghost hunter crack, and here we are.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Hey, it stopped.
I think it's gone now.
Okay, cool.
Holy
Make,
cow.
make the ghost hunter joke.
Good.
We're good.
I think we're good.
Okay, who was the pick for Tampa?
Andrew Thomas.
I haven't made it yet. I've been waiting for Corinne's. It's Andrew Thomas, but yeah.
Andrew,
Andrew Thomas is the pick. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
he's the pick.
43-year-old quarterback. You have to protect him if they have any chance. And oh, by the way, yours truly put some money on it to win the Super Bowl yesterday. So
Uh-oh.
Is there any team's fan base that deserves a Super Bowl win less than the Bucks?
Wow.
oh boy,
You lemon,
I would say
shots
the New
fired.
England Patriots deserve a Super Bowl win less
Yeah,
than
that's definitely true.
Yeah, but the Bucks fan base has been hiding in the bushes forever, and now that Brady's come out, they're all coming out of the woodwork.
it's new and improved shot Kirk here. I vehemently disagree with that, but I'm not going to rip you for it.
I like it.
Who's worse? Who would you put ahead of that?
Of the Bucks fan base in the NFL,
No,
as far
it's
as being
like in terms of who you think deserves it less, a Super Bowl
Well,
less.
I'd probably put the
I'll-
Bucks like in the middle of the pack. I mean, I was just somewhere in the middle, I think, off the top of my head. I would just
how about the
basically
Packers?
choose
How
one
about the Packers stack?
Yeah, the Packers.
first.
I just mean in terms of a fan base, like they just don't show up to games.
Dallas, Green Bay.
Well,
I
yeah, I mean,
They will issue it.
The Chargers.
there you go.
I don't
Yeah.
Rams deserve it. It's just screw them at this point. Figure it out, guys.
Denver 15. I pick. I'm going another receiver. My personal favorite, Justin Jefferson from LSU. He one of the guys shot in Kirk Pitt.
Yep, he's my second favorite in the draft.
I like him too. I hope my favorite team picks him. That is likely. Atlanta. Well, still trying to replace Chris Chandler after all these years. Marcus, where they go?
Stop talking with your mouth full. What did you say?
Atlanta. Pick a guy.
Atlanta. I'm kind of surprised this guy is still there. They need defensive back. They need defensive everything at this point. They're going to take C.J. Henderson, cornerback from Florida.
Good pick.
He's still there. Any updates on who's available for Dallas?
Well, C.J. Henderson, we still got Javon Kinlaw. He's 11th on the board, highest ranked guy left. Henderson was 13. We've got Xavier McKinney, the safety out of Alabama. He's 15. Levon Chason, the outside linebacker, LSU, happens to be 6'3". He's 17. Kenneth Murray, another linebacker, an inside guy. He's 18. And then we go down to Jordan Love, 21st overall on the big board. So,
Okay. I've got Dallas at 17. Let's go with Kinlaw and get him out of there. He dropped quite a bit. Let's pick him up before Charlie, the Dolphins, pick at 15.
Well, the Dolphins had drafted an Alabama safety who was an early entry to the draft a few years ago. It looked really good, so they were dumb and traded him. They're going to try to catch magic or lightning in a bottle again and go with Xavier McKinney, the safety out of Alabama.
He picked from the Steelers, in which they traded secondary guy. They pick a secondary guy.
I was probably going to pick one of the offensive tackles, but you guys took like the 5-1 right before me. So
I'm just going to step in and make this comment now before the Vikings pick. I mean, they're a team that needs to take a wide receiver and an offensive lineman, and the good offensive linemen are going to go at the very top of the draft. That would maybe make the argument for the Vikings moving up. And like David said, there happen to be like 24 quality receivers in this draft. So they probably don't need to take a receiver in the first round, and they could get that covered in the second round. So we'll see how they approach it. But
Stacken has the second Raiders pick, I believe, at 19.
Yep.
He picked CeeDee Lamb to begin with. Who do you like here? This is the Chicago pick.
Well, when you think about the AFC West, think about the great tight ends and the backs catching passes out of the backfield. So you're going to need a guy in the middle of the field, could cover those tight ends, cover the backs out of the backfield. So I think linebacker here is going to be the pick. Now, it's just a matter of whether you go a Patrick Queen out of LSU or a Kenneth Murray out of Oklahoma. I think the Raiders have to take Kenneth Murray, linebacker out of Oklahoma here.
There we go. Oklahoma. Martin Kirk, Jacksonville's second pick. This is from the Rams. How'd they get this pick?
A good trade. Jalen Ramsey said, fuck you.
Jalen Ramsey.
Jalen Ramsey said, fuck you. This is semi-controversial, but they're going to take another, could be basket case, ungodly potential. This might be a little bit too high, might be a stretch. I actually see them trading out of this pick, but if they do select the guy with the board the way it has fallen, I believe they take cornerback Trayvon Diggs, not Stephon, Trayvon Diggs.
oh my!
Trey Diggs, cornerback, Alabama, number 20. Jacksonville. Marcus, the Eagles are up next. Who shithead throwing to this?
Hold on, I gotta find Trayvon.
He's still looking for Trayvon Diggs. Deep.
How far is he? Honestly, not in the top 50.
He's in the top 50.
Holy shit, he's 71st. He's right in front of Jalen Hurts.
Oh,
so
boy.
That logic, he will not go in the first 2 rounds if they just took the best player available. My God, I love it.
That's dumb.
Yeah, I think I've seen him in first round mocks. So we've got Philadelphia. And to be honest, they were looking at linebacker as well. And the Kenneth Murray decision kind of makes things easier. They will take Patrick Queen, the linebacker out of LSU. He happens to be an inside linebacker. Pretty athletic, pretty fast. That will work for the Eagles. They can get a receiver later. So
here we are, Stack, and this is the Stephon Diggs pick.
Mm-hmm.
Again, Marcus kind of said offensive tackle. You got Josh Jones from Houston, who may be around. You got Austin Jackson from USC. You got a bunch of corners you could pick.
I don't think the Vikings thought that Josh Jones would be falling this far to them. That makes things difficult. I think, because they're going to go offensive tackle potentially here, really help shore things up. Or they could take Clayvon Case on the defensive end from LSU, pair him up with fellow defensive end Danielle Hunter. I think it's just, if he's there, I think you got to take him. I'm going to give him Josh Jones, offensive tackle, Houston.
Josh Jones, offensive tackle, Houston. What is it? 5th offensive tackle taken here in the first round. Schottenkirk, New England, and New Orleans are up next. 2 teams that I'm sure a lot of people thinking maybe trading up for quarterbacks. Here's New England. Jordan Love is out there, but do they go him or do they go somewhere else?
Yeah, I think Jordan Love is a distinct has a distinct chance to be taken here, but I just had to kind of change of heart as I was scanning through things, and I think they're either going to go up for Tua or make a big move for Tua or something like that, or they're going to probably trade down out of this pick again. I know that seems to be a theme with the picks they have tonight, that I think teams are going to be trading back, but if they do pick here, they would have loved to have Xavier McKinney or Kenneth Murray, 2 picks that have been taken. So I'm going to go a little bit off the radar here, not very, but Zach Bond, outside linebacker from Wisconsin.
He is number 31 on the big board, and Josh Jones, by the way, number 40, but he is the next highest rated tackle. So if the Vikings want tackle, that's how far they got to go.
They're going to go. Yeah. Any update on the big board here? Who's the top, maybe 5 or 10?
Well, we've had a few LSU guys go off the board, but we still have K'Lavon Chaisson, the outside linebacker from LSU, still on the board. He was number 17 overall. Jordan Love, number 21, still there. And then we get into a whole stretch here of kind of untouched guys. Brandon Ayuk, wide receiver from Arizona State, still out there. My guy, Antoine Winfield Jr., the safety from the Gophers, is number 24 overall. The top running backs in the draft, DeAndre Swift and J.K. Dobbins, are still there. Also with the top interior lineman in the draft, Cesar Ruiz from Michigan, who played center last year. And then Schottenkirk's guy, Michael Pittman Jr., also on the board from USC.
9 picks to go. Charlie, you're picking 24 for New Orleans. Does your guy get picked here? Jordan Love.
Unfortunately for his sake, he does not.
Wow.
New Orleans wanted a tackle. They all got taken. They wanted one of those linebackers that Stacken and Traxler took. They need some help on defense still. They want someone with pedigree. They're taking Traxler's guy, Antoine Winfield Jr.
Ooh, there he is, boys.
Wow.
New Orleans.
Who'll fit in great in New Orleans.
I will say
He will.
that I think Jordan Love is going to be picked by New Orleans here. I think this is listen, the Saints were going to take Patrick Mahomes when at pick 11 before the Chiefs took him at 10, traded up to get him. If Jordan Love is at 24, the Saints are going to take him. He's been compared to Patrick Mahomes. I'm not saying he is, but if you even have that remote comparison, Sean Payton's as good as they come when it comes to offensive minds. Look what he did last year with Teddy Bridgewater. I think Jordan Love is going to be picked by the Saints if he falls to 24.
He's a good offensive mind, and he's smart enough to say, you know what, let's just wait till next year to get a quarterback.
What is the thinking there, though? Because I've also seen that somebody made the statement that, if Sean Payton believes that Taysom Hill could be the number 1 guy, They just put like a first or second round tender on him, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, what does that say about whether or not they're going to want a quarterback? If you bring one in, is that the new guy? And you look to get rid of Taysom Hill? I suppose you probably, I don't know, because you still have Drew Brees for 2 more years. So it's a little awkward.
Jordan Love's probably going to need to sit for a while here, so that'd be a good spot there.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm not saying he should play right away, but
I don't think anybody thinks Taysom Hill's going to be worth the shit. I mean,
he's also 36 years old.
I mean, we could put Brandon Wheaton all we want here, but goddamn, he's been around for a long time, and you're going to give the keys to the castle to a 30-year-old BYU dude. Maybe just for next year, like Charlie said. We got 2 guys up top here that like Jordan Love. Schottenkirk, what do you He's got a big arm and all that stuff. I mean, New Orleans obviously would be as good of a spot as any for him. I mean, you would think he might land in a better spot than anybody if he goes later on here in the first round or early second.
That's definitely part of it. It's all about fit. If he goes into a organization that has a better coach and there's some playmakers around, that'll certainly help. But again, I know you can't take away 2019. 2019 wasn't great, but new coach, new offensive system, lost a couple of his favorite weapons. Offense line wasn't very good. He didn't get along with the coaching staff. All those things led into very so-so or poor, quite frankly, poor year. Go back and look at 2018. The film doesn't lie in 2018. A system with a couple playmakers around. Has an arm, has mobility, and it does have the ability to be coached. I think he could be pretty good.
I'm sorry, we're going to have to correct you. The proper pronunciation is poor.
Cool.
Tremendous.
Jordan Love out there for my Vikings at 25. Stacking, do I pull the trigger here?
Second coming of Patrick Mahomes? Yes, you do.
Second coming of P. Jackson, R.I.P.
It was his birthday yesterday, T-Jack.
It was your wife's birthday yesterday morning.
It was. She shares a birthday with Tavares Jackson, the late Tavares
No
Jackson.
No more, because you
The
can't
late.
have a birthday when you did. That's the rule.
Alabama State.
Would have been Babe Ruth's 125th birthday this year. Good for him. Died 80 years ago. I'm taking a cornerback.
February 6th. I only know that because it's the same birthday as my sister.
Babe Ruth?
Yep.
When was he born?
He's born February 6th. I don't know what year, but that day, because that's the same birthday as my sister.
God damn.
We're Joe Pesci, the most famous person born on my birthday. Not the best, maybe the best.
I've got Mark Messier.
The Rock, get some bitches.
Woo!
Man. All I've got is the best wet band.
Taking a corner here, Stack. I'm taking Jeff Gladney, guy I took yesterday in our little deal.
Mm-hmm.
So they get a tackle, they get a corner. Also use some defensive linemen inside and outside. But what the corner from LSU is a possibility.
Christian Fulton. Yep.
I'd say it's between those two. Give me, I guess, Jeff Gladney between the two. I could be talking either one.
I'll just say this right now that there's no way that that DN Jason from LSU is here at this point. I think we've kind of screwed the pooch on that one.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say in that point, I mean, Daniil Hunter, man, was from LSU pretty raw, and Jason's basically in a lot of the same boat. They had a handful of sacks last year and the year before, so that would maybe be all right with the Vikings.
That's why I was debating between Josh Jones. I mean, because I think Josh Jones is going 18 to the Dolphins. So if Josh Jones is there, I do think it's going to be a coin toss between him and Chason, but I'd be fine with either one. I have seen, though, someone give the Gross Matos and AJ Terrell to the Vikings. That would piss me off. I think I would just be done after that. Be like, fuck this.
Oh, my. Josh, Jeff Gladney, number 37 on the big board overall, by the way.
If they get Austin Jackson and AJ Terrell, Shoddy, you can tell me more about Austin Jackson. I know the type of character he is, but I think that's a kind of a reach for him, either at 22 or 25. I don't think I'd like that.
We all think that there's one of these two picks has got to be a corner. We just assume that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think we might prefer to drop back a couple spots and pick up the third round.
Yeah.
Here anyway.
What I think they're going to do or try to do anyway is take the corner that they like the most at 22 and then drop down out of 25 with the opportunity potentially to jump back up if there's somebody still there at, like, say, 30, 31, 32. And I think Spielman will be moving around again. I don't think they're picking at 25 regardless, and they might not. They might only have one first round pick, but it's got to be a corner. I mean, I would be basically flabbergasted if 22 is not a corner.
We always love that when the Vikings trade down and then they trade back up. It's it's great.
I want them to trade out of the first round, get an early second round pick, and that's when I want them to take Winfield Jr.
Okay.
Good enough. We'd all like that. We all like Winfield Jr.
We do.
We all like him. Pick 26, the final of the 7 Dolphins picks. Charlie, this is the one for Tunsil, the marijuana smoker. Who do they take here? They've taken a safety. Do they take? They don't take a tackle.
The quarterback is the other one.
Yeah.
I wanted to take Chase Young. Couldn't. He wasn't there. Wanted to take Isaiah Simmons, but I know they wouldn't at 5 because they take the quarterback. Mr. Chason from LSU's fallen too far, and the Dolphins need a pass rusher, so that's who they're taking. Well, this ends up actually working out. The Dolphins didn't get the one guy I wanted the most, but I can live with this as a. I'd be happy.
That's because you passed on Jordan Love twice.
I'll tell you this, Charlie.
Any quarterback this year because I just don't trust him. I don't trust them
to
win this score. You can give the Dolphins an invulnerable Andrew Luck for 20 years and find a way to screw him up. I don't know. He just throws 4 pick sixes every game. We don't know what's wrong with him. It's clearly his fault, not ours.
I'll tell you this, Charlie. If that's the combination of picks that Miami ends up with, that's about as close to of a grand slam as that you could hope for. That'd be a pretty stellar way to use those picks.
I'd be quite happy tomorrow night with that.
Is this the first Kalavon in the NFL?
Gotta be.
Gotta be.
You don't remember Kalavon Jackson from the 1923?
Now, 1933, he was a 17th.
The center / punter for the Bears.
Oh yes, one of the first Kalavions to be around the world. Seattle Marcus at 27. Well, what do they do here?
Well, they had an idea of who would maybe be left, and Josh Jones, Houston would be fine for them. They are going to pull the trigger on Cesar Ruiz. The center has some guard experience from Michigan. He'll be their guy.
Cesar Ruiz, interior lineman for the Seahawks. Maybe Super Bowl favorites from last year that did not get it done. Baltimore at 28. Scott Kirk should be pretty good for a while here. What do they do?
Yeah, I think they want to go defense. I don't think that they want to go linebacker in particular, but a couple of those guys have been sniped in the last handful of picks here. At this point, with the way the board's broken down, I'm actually going to take a running back and take DeAndre Swift here for the Baltimore Ravens.
Wow.
The Ravens. A lot of people, Charlie, think you might go to the Dolphins, maybe Jonathan Taylor. Maybe they might take a running back with this final first-round pick. I assume you're not a fan of that strategy.
I'm not. I think some of those guys could be very good in the NFL, but I think you could also get a guy that's 85 or 90% good 3 rounds later.
Like, what about J.K. Dobbins? I mean, pick him in, like, the 3rd round or whatever? I mean,
he is not going to last till the 3rd round.
He won't
He's
be there
going
in the
second.
3rd round.
Second round, I mean, whatever. Pick him like he –
JK will be gone in the first 40 picks. There's almost no doubt.
I think both him and Taylor are good. There's going to be a run on the top running backs in the 2nd round. I think you'll see a trade up for either Taylor or Dobbins.
Who could use a guy? Washington could use a guy. Seems like Detroit could always use a running back. 4 picks to go. Marcus, where do we stand here? Who's left? Who's some notables we should not forget about?
Well, those last few picks helped kind of clean up the top 30 a little bit. We still have Brandon Ayuk, another name I will learn how to pronounce.
Bust. B-U-S-T. That's how you pronounce that. He's going to be trash. I can't believe people are talking about him as a first-round pick. You got to be out of your fucking mind.
Oh, I hope he goes to the Packers then.
81-inch wingspan, man. Come on.
I'll show you 81-inch wingspan.
Oh,
Right.
wait, calm down, calm down.
What
Let's see
do
here.
I do is behind closed doors? You do.
He's 23rd on the big board. J.K. Dobbins, aforementioned, 27th overall. Michael Pittman's 28. Cole Kmet in a weird tight end draft. He is the highest ranked tight end. He's 29th overall from Notre Dame. T. Higgins from Clemson. He's 30th overall. Then we get down the list. Jordan Brooks, inside linebacker, Texas Tech. Marlon Davidson, defensive end, Auburn. Those guys are 32, 33. Grant Delpit, the hard-hitting safety from LSU, 34th. And Jonathan Taylor, 35th overall, the running back from Wisconsin.
Marcus, where did you get the rankings from?
These are Mel Kiper's top 300 guys.
Okay.
So,
Is that as of today?
I got these from you, Stacking. I got them from you. I printed them today. I think they were updated in the last day or two. So,
okay.
If you care, second, I'm getting my prospect rankings from CBSSports.com.
I did not realize that Jonathan Taylor was 5'10", 226 pounds.
Big guy.
It's a little beefy.
It's a bowling ball.
He's from Joyce.
Yeah. Also, I noticed that on Pro Football Focus, Chris Collinsworth was doing let's see here. He's got a mock draft, and they've got a 3-round mock draft, and they have Jordan Love going in the 3rd round to the Chargers, which that I like. I like that he falls all the way into the 3rd round. That's
if he's available in round 3, I'd say go for it. I mean, I don't even remember if the Dolphins have a 3rd round pick, but he's still there. I'd say aim for the stars.
Makes sense there. All right, final picks here. Nathan, your Titans are up. Somehow they almost got to the Super Bowl.
They did. Logan Ryan has departed them, so they will be looking in the secondary. And if this guy falls to him, they will immediately send this pick in, barring
they will virtually sprint to the podium.
and barring any snafus or issues with technology, which are bound to happen here. They will take Christian Fulton, the cornerback from LSU.
What about Jordan Love right here, Stack?
No.
Like we're buying into Mr. Tannehill. We're thinking he's going to be the guy.
He's not going to be asked to do a lot. And think about it,
why are we paying him $100 million to be
because that's the going rate for quarterbacks these days.
Well, not for a shithead.
Look, think about you got AJ Brown there. I don't know what Corey Davis is going to do. Jonnu Smith is very good. You got Derrick Henry, of course. He's got some weapons around him, so you could see they'll bolster it. But they're going to go Christian Fulton here.
Is Jonnu Smith related to Jonos or whatever? That's by the Player Center.
God damn.
The hole in the wall sports bar that is frequented during the Summit League tournament. You took Christian Fulton, cornerback LSU, right?
Yes.
Okay, he is 69th overall among prospects. So
among sports feels much higher.
Hell of a number.
Among quarterbacks, you passed A.J. Terrell. He's 61.
He sucks.
You passed up Damon Arnett, cornerback out of Ohio State. You passed on Jalen Johnson, the corner out of Utah.
That'd be all right.
So, okay, just pointing that out. Noah Longname from Auburn.
Noah Long.
Igbeno Gene. So he's the son of 2 Olympians, according to Mel.
Oh.
Pound that Coors Light.
Charlie,
baby.
what do you make of Ryan Tannehill getting a second large contract? And they made a play.
Not something I would have thought of 2 years ago.
I mean, you watch those games, you look at those stats that he put up in the playoffs, and it's like, oh, that was Derrick Henry. That was not him. Is it another case of, well, we won, let's keep our quarterback, even though he probably didn't do a whole lot. He didn't hurt you, but goddamn.
Yeah,
I think the philosophy is
they just roll up that this haunts them for the future. If they're like, you know what, maybe this guy can be the guy for us.
Maybe, but in the regular season, yeah.
Unless you have that Broncos defense from Peyton's last year, then maybe, but their defense is not that good.
I think the philosophy is we have to pay somebody, so why not pay the big guy?
He's a big guy. Let's. Everybody seems to be a receiver here with Green Bay, it seems like. We got some dudes. Receivers here, Schottenkirk. Who do you like? You got those top three. You like Justin Jefferson? Who would you say the other guy that you like yet?
Yeah, it's not the homer pick. It's not Michael Pittman Jr. Even though I do like him. It is not T. Martin. It's T. Higgins.
You like T. Higgins?
Oh yeah, big time, big time.
Yeah, that's interesting. So let's go T. Higgins to the Packers at 30. Quarterback ain't getting any younger. You got to need some guys because they got random dude city at wide receiver there in Green Bay. So let's go T. Higgins, 30 to Green Bay. San Francisco, Charlie at 31.
Well, even though they got Jimmy Garoppolo, who's great, he's too busy dating porn stars. I mean, how can you come from behind when you're busy coming from behind?
Oh my!
You need Brian Lork in State. Just kidding. That's not who I have them taking. They're going to be Garoppolo. They are going with Grant Delpit from Ellis.
Good pick.
Talk about a guy's stock that dropped throughout the season. Even though I still really like him. There was a lot of at the beginning of the season. A lot of people thought he was a top 10 player.
And we wrap up the draft with Marcus and the Super Bowl champion, Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, I got to be honest here. The Chiefs were banking on DeAndre Swift dropping here. They're looking for a running back. It'd be the perfect spot at the end of the first round. And then, frankly, I don't know how to feel about J.K. Dobbins within the framework of their offense. You look at the Chiefs running backs, and it's not much. They got Damian Williams, who I think is heading into the last year of his deal. And then you got something called Darwin Thompson, Darrell Williams, and DeAndre Washington. So it's pretty slim from there. So they really need corner. I like Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but I think it's a little early to take him.
Oh, we like him.
But I don't know.
Why not?
I'm going to crowdsource that pick. Is that a dumb pick?
Why not? Why not?
Okay, we're going to do that. Clyde Edwards can't be any worse than Ricky Stanzi going to the Chiefs. I'll say that.
Jesus. Maybe he could be a guy.
Maybe he could be a guy.
Still time for Ricky Stanzi.
I want to get in on Schottenkirk's wide receiver talk a little bit. I think Denzel Mims from Baylor, who was pretty talented for Baylor, scored a crap ton of touchdowns. I think he could be a pretty solid pro. I also like a couple Big Ten receivers, KJ Hamler from Penn State, and I also like Tyler Johnson, the Gophers receiver, although, I mean, among wide receivers, I don't know where Kuiper has him ranked. Let me look that up real quick. He's got him as his 19th best receiver. So
that's fucking ridiculous. I mean, Jesus. Yeah. I mean, for Christ's fucking sake. Come on.
Well, I mean, he's behind Laviska Shenault, the standout from Colorado.
The only good player at Colorado.
The only good.
I mean, I know it's a good little class here, but.
Yeah, Shenault was 14th, and then Lid Bowden Jr., who did everything for Kentucky, he's 16th. And Tyler Johnson's behind some guy from Liberty. Come on.
Fuck you, buddy. Fuck him.
So,
who do you want the Vikings to pick? Who are any guys that you want? Obviously, you'd like Tyler Johnson, 5th, 4th round, whenever. You'd want Antoine Winfield Jr., 2nd round. Any guys that you do or do not want with these two picks?
I would like them to get an offensive tackle, and I would be okay with them moving up. There's been some discussion whether or not they can move up from 22 without having to give up the other first-round pick, which it sounds like they could. You maybe have to give up a third-round pick or something. So Mekhi Becton, if they could make that happen, would be great. But it's going to be a struggle. I don't think it's worth taking. I think Jerry Jeudy's going to be good. I think CeeDee Lamb will be solid. But I don't think it's worth trading up for either of those guys. And if for some reason one of them is there at 22, that'd be great. I think Justin Jefferson would be fine if the Vikings took him at 22 or 25. So that's kind of where I stand. And I agree. One of the two picks is going to be a corner. As long as Mike Zimmer is the coach of this team, that's how this is going to work. So, and they have a definite need this year. There's no question about that. So, I don't have a particular corner, to be honest. None of those guys really stand out to me other than the Henderson guy from Florida, and he's not going to fall to 22. So that's where I stand.
Stack in any guys you don't want or any guys you do want.
Yeah, I don't want that Gross Matos guy from Penn State. Gross.
You want the defensive end from LSU.
Yeah, I would be ecstatic if they got him. I would like Justin Jefferson, but ideally I'd like to see them trade out of the first round with their 25th pick and then get Antoine Winfield Jr. early in the second round. I don't know. I mean, they're good. They have 12 picks, so they have the capital. I think they have the fourth most draft capital out of any team in the league this year. And that's not just picks, that's the value of the picks. So they have the flexibility to move around either up or down if they wanted to accumulate more picks. But they have to hit on these because they have massive holes to fill, especially in the secondary, providing that wide receiver depth, maybe some defensive line depth as well, offensive line. So they have to hit on the picks. So whatever they feel is best for them, I'm okay with them doing. It's just they just got to hit on them. And so whether that's 7 picks to help the team or 11 or 12 or maybe more, I wouldn't mind seeing them try and get more picks for next year. But obviously they're kind of in a win now mode. But it's weird that they're win now, but they have a lot of holes to fill that a contending team doesn't have normally in a year.
Well, and I would also say that the pressure is on Zimmer and Spielman to cash it in now. So I think the win now thing is felt most by them. It just is, and whether that's right or wrong is I mean, they've just been here so long that that's the way it's going to be. I'd also get one more word in here because these guys did not get picked in the first round. Austin Jackson, the offensive tackle, I know we briefly discussed him, 48th overall, and then Ezra Cleveland, 49th overall, and both of those guys have been talked about for the Vikings as well at offensive tackle. So those are possible. Austin Jackson played every snap at left tackle for USC over the last 2 years. So it's worth something. And Ezra Cleveland did the same for Boise State, 3 straight seasons.
I would love it if they could trade out, get Antoine Winfield early in the second, and then with their second round pick, if they have to move up a little bit to get Ezra Cleveland, I would be just fine with that. Pick up Tyler Johnson later rounds. What do we think about this Ben Bartch guy from St. John's? How do you think he's going to do?
I think he's going to be a third or fourth rounder. Some people think he could be at the end of the second. I think he's going to be pretty good. I've seen him play 6, 8, 10 times the last couple of years. And really, obviously, the offensive line play, unless you're watching it in particular, it doesn't necessarily jump out at you a lot. But you watch him and you watch 5 snaps, you watch 50 snaps, you knew that dude was different. I didn't think necessarily he'd jump up into being the conversation of it being a day 2 pick, but he's put on the weight. He's got the feet of a ballet dancer, and he can get ugly too. So,
I mean, somebody help me understand this Anthony Harris situation.
I don't get it either, man.
He's maybe the best safety. If he's not, he's number 2 or number 3. And we don't want to sign him. Maybe we don't have the money. Still got a franchise that he hasn't signed yet. And Antoine Winfield, where he would fit in there, I don't know. I'm sure not a whole lot would be expected of him as this year for both those safeties back there. But Anthony Harrison, if you got to get rid of him, then I want a first-round pick for him because
you're not going to get that second rounder at best.
If I'm giving up like one of the best players at a certain position, I want a first-round pick. If it's got to be in the 20s, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But give him up for anything less than that is horseshit for me. Wasn't a fan of getting rid of Diggs, but they did that. Now they just got this massive fucking hole at receiver. I mean, DC Johnson, not a guy. Irv Smith now has got to be a guy.
I vehemently disagree that BC Johnson's not a guy. I think he is absolutely a guy.
He's all right. Yeah, he's all right.
You have to remember that Chad Beebe is going to be back here. Hopefully, he had that hamstring injury last year. I think they have a Dalen Mitchell who was on the practice squad from Oregon last year. We'll see if he can maybe take an extra step. This is the deepest wide receiver class we've ever had, so they will draft wide receiver at some point.
Well, you need like multiple guys.
Yeah,
I just
Irv Smith Irv Smith Jr. in year 2 is de facto. He's going to make a big league too.
Well, let me propose this, Krins. Would you trade Kyle Rudolph and a 4th-round pick for T.Y. Hilton?
He's 30.
No.
This has got to be
No,
Rudolph.
not a chance.
Maybe.
It's something that I have seen posted. It's just a, I don't know if it's a rumor or just.
Will the Vikings trade for Trent Williams?
I'd be fine with the 25th pick.
He's been really. How old is he now?
Adam, 31.
He's not quite as old as I thought of. So
12 million or so.
Hasn't played a full season in what, like 6 years now?
I don't like that.
I didn't realize
I don't like that. 12 million and last year was deal, and you got to get younger there. So
I'd also I'd like to reference the top 300 of Mel Kiper, and he has some of the positions broken out. Christian Roseboom not ranked among the top linebackers or the top 300 players. He does have Chase Vinatieri ranked as the 13th best specialist between kickers and punters. He is the number 4 kicker on here. There's a lot of punters.
is he in the none of them are in the top 300?
Who are the top kickers, Marcus? Who are the top 3?
Tyler Bass of Georgia Southern is the number 1 kicker on here. Hot Rod Rodrigo Blankenship, number 2 from Georgia.
I think you got a Utah State guy up there too, don't you?
He is nobody from Utah State on here. Number 3 is J.J. Molson from UCLA at kicker, and then number 4 is Chase Vinatieri. So,
You're probably thinking of the guy from Utah, not Utah State. I don't think he's draft eligible yet.
Okay.
quick shameless plug. You go to inwestiowa.com and type Christian Roseboom into the search. You can read the story I have on Christian Roseboom
read it.
on Sioux Center, which is in our coverage area.
Have you now purposely misspelled Jordan Love's name now?
That was actually at the start, and I was going to change it immediately after I saw it. But I don't know how to change it once I got in here. So,
Oh, wow.
He probably deserves that.
He probably does.
Like Vinatieri was not good last year, though. That's what I don't get.
No, he was not good.
Like he's not good. He shouldn't. I don't even know if he should be given a chance. He was so shitty.
The kicker I'm thinking of from Utah State is Dominic Eberle.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
When's our guy Rodrigo Blankenship getting a chance? He got one more year to serve down south.
No, he's in the draft, man.
Yeah,
He's in the draft. Where the fuck is he at? Let's go.
He's the number 2 kicker.
All right.
Also, some names you should know: Steve Wardle from Iowa State and Blake Ferguson from LSU, the top 2 long snappers in this draft. Get ready. We've also got one guy who apparently spent some time in the XFL, Kenny Robinson. Was at West Virginia, and he is a safety. He's the 15th ranked safety in the draft. So I've never printed this out or looked through. I never looked through any of this stuff before an actual draft. It's kind of fun. So,
What tight end are the Vikings going to take in the 6th round?
let's see. Charlie Camino,
Max
tight end. He's from Portland State.
Got to be a max pool.
You got to max out the Colquitts as long as you can. They're going to keep the Colquitt for a while.
I know a cool quit out there. Good.
Maybe they'll take the St. John's guy and move him to tight end.
Right. Who's this other like Division II guy? It might be a 2nd round pick? Did we mention him or who we're talking about here?
What position is he for?
The safety from Lenore. Oh,
Yeah. Yep. Is that
The tight end.
Lenore Rain or whatever?
Lenore Rain, the safety, I think. Is
Yeah.
the guy.
Since we're on tight ends, the number 2 tight end is Adam Troutman. He played at Dayton, the powerhouse in the FCS Dayton. So
Fun fact.
Hold on to your butts for this one. But I saw one mock draft that had that tight end from Dayton going to the 1st round of the fucking Patriots.
I did too. Fun
Kyle
fact.
Duggar is the safety from Lenore Ryan. He is the number 6 safety on the board.
Fun fact about the Troutman guy, he guarded Obi Toppin in a scrimmage game at Dayton for a while. So
Beautiful.
You're national champion Dayton Flyers, by the way.
yes, they were. Yes, they were.
Hang a banner, folks. Hang a banner.
Absolutely.
Look, I mean, Trevor Lawrence first pick next year. Are we looking maybe like a
Trevor
Jacksonville?
Lawrence, yes.
Yeah.
Right here, right fucking here.
Every year that whoever we think's the guy that's going to go first frequently doesn't end up being first. No one thought Joe Burrow would be the first quarterback.
Joe Burrow, what a stunner! What a
And that's honestly that.
I mentioned this
You
to
ready for my hot take yet?
not yet.
Stacken, what do you got?
Well, I was just going to say I mentioned this to Krins, but if COVID had happened last fall, we wouldn't have Joe Burrow being the number 1 overall pick. He might not have even been drafted.
Probably
Like
not.
that, it's amazing just the fortunes that he has. That the virus didn't hit last year, so it's pretty incredible.
Jesus Christ!
God, after Nebraska's season, I wish it would have hit last.
All right,
Yes.
David.
I mean, we got Justin Fields, Ohio State. He'll be in the mix.
But then he'll transfer to Oklahoma.
Oklahoma there.
So you make a run at the Heisman Trophy, like all the other Oklahoma quarterbacks.
Justin Ross, receiver Clemson, in the mix
Beast.
here. We got Jamar Chase, receiver LSU. We'll see how he does without a quarterback. So, you're the guys. Alabama's got another.
LSU. How much would you guys like it if the Vikings drafted Moss's kid?
That'd be
That'd be
sick.
fucking great. Goddamn great. I'd
They
like
don't
that.
have any room for tight ends though right now. They'd have to get rid of. They'd have to get rid of.
Rudolph has got to be his last year, so it's.
All right,
Yeah.
David.
All right, Sean Kirk.
What is it? What is it?
I'll sum this up as quickly as possible. Joe Burrow, bust.
Wow.
That's what you were
I
waiting
think
for?
Burrow could be good some places. I think if you want to be good, I don't know if Cincinnati's the place to go to be like, hey, you be the guy that fixes everything guy who was good 1 year in college.
Good 1 year in college. Yeah, good 1 year in college with a great system. He's obviously talented, but one of these we're due. I'm not talking all time bust. He's probably going to have a career that spans 5, 7, 10 years, whatever. But anybody that thinks he's an all-pro Super Bowl caliber quarterback, I don't see it. I'm sorry, I just don't.
Better than Sam Bradford. No.
I'm going to say no.
All right. Is he better than former Bengals quarterback Akili Smith?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, he'll be better than that.
Have
Sean
they
Kirk.
drafted a first-round quarterback since Carson Palmer?
I don't think so.
No, Dalton was a second-round pick.
Yeah, another tidbit since you brought that up, the Packers haven't drafted a receiver in the first round since fucking Javon Walker.
That's crazy.
Sean Kirk, I
2002, I believe.
don't want to start a fight here, but are the Jaguars going to be the worst team in the league this year? Because I can't.
Wow.
I-
Just going for it.
I'm just wondering because I'm looking at the rosters. I think that they arguably are right up there.
There's almost no doubt that they're going to be amongst the worst teams. Are they going to be the worst? Very possibly. And I think, honestly, if you ever want to see a tank job in the NFL, the way they've been fleecing their roster and trading these veterans and stockpiling picks, and they have 2 first-rounders, and I'm not sold that they're going to use both of those first-rounders. They might drop back into the middle of rounds. And if they have the number 1 pick, we'll come on down in Sunshine and we can start over and try from there. I'm not on the Minshew train. I mean, it's cool. It's unique. It's fun, whatever. Long term, I don't think it's viable. If they have to go 2-14 this year, there's talent. They got Josh Allen last year in the draft. He had a really good rookie year. They get a guy or two this year. There's young talent there, but it's going to be a rough year. There's almost no doubt.
I'm just thinking of the rosters of the teams as currently constructed. I think the Bengals could certainly be up there.
Like Washington's not good. I mean, if Dwayne Haskins sucks, I mean, they're going to be right there.
Yep, Washington. I just think the Jaguars arguably probably have more holes and less like really great players than anyone else.
There's no doubt. Absolutely, they're if they don't have the worst roster, they're like I said, they're the top 2 or 3 worst rosters, and it's it's almost by design at this point, because until they get that franchise quarterback, and we all know my history with the one that I thought was going to be the franchise quarterback and was a play away from the Super Bowl, and he's fallen off the face of the earth. But if they get Trevor Lawrence, and if that's what it takes, I mean, that's worth it.
And what's going to be funny is that the GM that helped accumulate all these picks won't be there, nor will the head coach.
Right.
What about the idea that we don't have a season in 2020 and the draft order?
How would they do that? How the fuck would they do that?
They said, I think they've, one of the ideas is like you take like a 3-year aggregate of teams' records and just say, this is how we're going to set the order. I don't know.
What a mess that would be.
I mean, at that point, I don't love the NBA draft, but I would be like, you know what? Let's just do ping pong balls for the NFL. Man.
Yep.
Let's really get
Absolutely.
the conspiracy theories out there in full force.
Yep,
And I've never seen it, but apparently the NFL is just adamantly against the lottery. So I don't know why that is, but yeah.
You're going to bring this up earlier, but how late in the year do we say, all right, we're done with the hockey, we're done with the basketball, we got to move on to the next season? And when do we have a draft? I mean, we got to have a draft here at the NBA at some point. If we're, July 4th here and we still haven't done anything, it's like, well.
I'd say no later than August 1.
If August 1's not done, we got to call it, have a draft in August. And
I saw today that the NHL is looking to play in July. I'm like, that's ridiculous. Like, actually restart the regular season.
No,
Come
I know.
on.
It's stupid.
That's dumb. The ice is going to melt. You may as well just play in a damn swimming pool.
Well, the ice is not the issue. The ice is not the issue.
It's going to be in Staples or Glendale, I guarantee you.
They're not going to be playing there.
The Kings suck, and the Coyotes are a borderline playoff team, so we don't have to worry about that. Thank God.
But they'd have to play regular season games there still.
Okay.
Vegas,
Vegas
gotcha. Too. That's what I'm saying.
You guys ready for my NBA proposal?
Let's hear it.
What do we do?
Start the playoffs immediately. They just go by where the seeds are now, the West and the East. The first round's a 3-game series, 1 versus 8, and that round's 3 games. The second round is 3 games. Then you go to 5, and then the potential finals would be 7. You go to Vegas, you get all these guys there, and you play. Crane's biggest thing in the finals. Why do you have multiple off days? There wouldn't be any multiple off days. It'd be you'd have a game. You'd have games every day. Series would be every other day. You'd play at whatever time, and have these TV companies or these networks. Hey, you want in? Get here, and we'll figure it out. We'll divvy it up, and ESPN, TNT, ABC, whatever. But I'm almost more firmly in the camp. Like I said, the NFL is going to play and going to play on time. I'd be very surprised if the NBA doesn't find a way to milk the cash cow and get something started. They do not want to lose the potential revenue of having even an abbreviated playoff session.
Yeah, the players want to get paid, and they won't get paid if the coaches or if the owners don't have money, and the owners won't have money. They don't have games.
Maybe.
And plus, I'm just desperate because I'm just. Yeah, exactly. I'm just desperate though because goddamn, what a way for LeBron to lose out on a potential 4th title.
What if
I heard this? I heard somewhere that, and I don't remember where it was, but their proposal was essentially you start the playoffs, you eliminate teams 5 through 8, and just say we're only taking the top 4 in each conference, and you play it in Los Angeles because both the Clippers and the Lakers have their own practice facilities.
Oh.
You play it at the actual stadium, you play it in the practice facilities. You basically just have the players and the coaches, trainers, referees, and like 6 TV guys. And then you just keep everyone in different, like each team gets their own hotel, but they're like, okay, we're paying for the whole hotel. And literally, only the people from the team are in this hotel and nobody else. And you basically knock out the playoffs, and I don't know how long that would take if you start in the semifinals then. But
That won't take too long.
2 weeks.
piggybacking off Schottenkirk's point about if the NBA Finals were played in Vegas and they do every other day, let's have the Stanley Cup Final in Vegas as well, and they could play on alternating days. They could do it in the same arena. It's not that hard.
Now we're talking.
Second, this is easy. Hockey's an international sport. You go south of the equator where it's winter.
Where the coronavirus is.
Stanley Cup Final games in Brazil. Come on.
I would really hope that Corona could be the official sponsor of both the NBA Final and the Stanley Cup Final.
South Africa's nice this time of year, especially since they got rid of the apartheid regime. So
David has heard me complain about this, but I heard a wild analyst say that, well, you got to play the Stanley Cup playoffs. It's got to be best of 7. You can't change the format. And I wanted to say, F you, man. Like everything on the table.
Was it Mike Greenley?
No, I think it was Kevin Gorg. He was just like,
okay.
you got to have best of 7. It's like, no, man.
Kevin.
Like everything goes out the door when you got a worldwide pandemic. It's like best of 3 or best of 5 will get the job done. I fully endorse what David threw out there about the NBA.
I'm changing my NBA mind. I think they should just do this all in 6 days, all 32 teams, nation college basketball style.
There you go.
That ain't bad.
I
No
just think
in between.
I just think they should cancel the season altogether so LeBron can't win that title with the
Wow,
Lakers.
what a deal!
Shots fired. Shots
He's
fucking fired.
got it.
You have to watch the first 2 episodes of the Jordan doc to be able to make that.
I would do that if they would just cancel the season. Then I would watch that documentary.
David, remind me who some of the shithead players are on the Lakers roster.
This year,
Yeah,
the shithead. There aren't any shitheads. They're Lakers. Come on.
I was thinking about Nick. I was thinking they get like a 3-0 lead in the finals, and then Nick Young or Meta World Peace or somebody gets coronavirus, and they got to cancel the rest of the playoffs. And J.R. Smith, and you got LeBron chewing out J.R. Smith.
Right.
Again.
Well,
That's what
here's the fun. Not to get too deep in the deep dive in the Lakers here, but if the season does get started and they get the playoffs going, guess who's going to be healthy? DeMarcus fucking Cousins. Suck my what.
He'll blow his Achilles out again.
Championship.
I don't think baseball's coming back.
I think they are. 100-game season start the 4th of July.
What
They have the best chance because they're going to be doing this. I hope they do the Florida, Arizona, because if you quarantine all these teams in basically within 100 or 200 miles of each other, that's a lot more realistic than flying everybody all over the country.
You already do that.
The NHL and the NBA are going to try to do.
Here's my deal. You got 4th of July or around the 4th of July. You start the season. You play 100 games. You go to the end of September, 1st of October, like usual. You play double headers. You play one double header, scheduled double header once a week.
Yep.
I mean, people are desperate for anything. You can get 100 games in 12 weeks. Or 12 or 13 weeks relatively easily. You're probably only going to have 4 or 5 days off in 3 months, but goddamn, you've been waiting around for how long now? I think baseball will be back in some form. I think it's all coming back in some form this summer. I really do.
I would inhale watching baseball right now, though.
Oh, yeah.
Sports where I don't know the outcome in advance. This is so nice.
What do we have? Like 4,000 or 5,000 people die here recently per day. Like, this isn't going to go away. Like, what do we have to get down to for people to say, all right, we can go back to normal?
The deaths have been spiking. The number of new cases have kind of sort of in the hot spots, aka New York City and a few other places. The number of cases have made the turn already. In the next 2 weeks from now, I don't think we're talking about near the death numbers that we have been in the last few days. Thankfully, obviously.
Like in South Dakota, Marcus, they're talking still the peak, like the middle of June still.
Yeah, if you look at the numbers, that's not going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen. Yeah,
like,
I don't know.
I think we may have hit the peak already if it wasn't for the fucking Smithfield Foods thing.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's leveling off now. There's only so much to come from that. Like, how are we've had 100 per day. We've had some, close to 200 a day. We're now down to, about the low 100s again.
Right.
How the fuck is this going to peak 6 weeks from now when, like, what other outbreak could there be? It's
starting to take off in Aberdeen. Good thing Charlie's not there anymore.
We've got 2 cases here, but it's 2 here in the last 2 days, which isn't much. But then they've got this fucking race coming up here Saturday. One's in Jefferson. Isn't there another one somewhere else?
Well, there for sure. And that's going to be 700 people all gathering in this place. And unfortunately, I'm not trying to be a dickhead.
It's going to happen.
We know what kind of people go to races. It's older people. It's people that aren't in very good shape. and they're all going to go to their hometowns, and they're going to get other people sick, and that's, I don't know, it's going to be a problem. They're trying to take the steps to have basically as little human contact as possible, but I don't think it's going to work. I really don't.
It's
Because I love irony and I don't know the answer. Is it a race for the cure? Because that would be really fun.
No, it's like a big time. I wouldn't say there's a ton of money on the line, but there's some money involved. So.
it was on the ESPN ticker today.
Yep.
We always make the national news for the meth, for the hot spots, and for the racing. It's never anything good. Like the governor doesn't. Yeah.
Somehow I'm totally out of the loop. Are we talking some sort of stock car race? What are we talking?
It's sprint cars and open wheel type thing.
Oh,
It's
boy.
a dirt track north of Sioux City. Yeah, and it's a place that apparently seats as many as 4,000, and they're going to restrict the crowd to 700, and everybody had to buy their tickets in advance, and there's not going to be, it's going to be limited concessions, and you can't use cash, and everybody's going to have to be spaced out in the stands, and I don't know.
I didn't know it was north of Sioux City. Where's it at?
Jefferson.
Oh yeah, I know where that is. Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't even know they were still having races there. So hey, good for them, but also don't do that because that's dumb right now.
And they got a crap load of drivers. I got to look up and see what.
Where are these drivers from?
I'm going to look that up.
I think it's just funny that the governor is saying, "Oh, we're recommending people not go, but we're not going to stop it all." Just stop it. Just say you guys can't go to this.
Governor doesn't like it, but she's not going to do anything about it.
That's the dumb thing. If you
know,
don't like it, then stop it.
Like the UFC Schottenkirk, I'm sure you've been following that mess. Like they wanted to run in California. I think Gavin Newsom said nope and got a hold of somebody from ESPN or somebody and said, yeah, you're not having a fight. If you do, we're not telecasting it. So there's no reason to. And Governor Nome could do that. She don't want to. It's ridiculous. But
the UFC stuff was kind of interesting. But supposedly they're coming back May 9th in Florida. So.
And
I
Florida,
don't know if anyone else ever played that video games, but UFC be like, hey, we're going to have this fighting tournament on Magical Island. And I was like, oh my gosh, a lot of Mortal Kombat. Well, exactly.
They don't have where these people are from on the driver list, which go figure. But there was one location that did sneak through, and the guy's from Texas. So that
great. And WWE is the only thing going right now, and it's unwatchable. It's not good.
Yeah. No.
I don't remember if I told this. Did I tell you this to you, Chris? I don't remember if it was you or someone from work, but that they had someone I didn't watch it, but saw on Twitter that they had Kevin Owens.
Yeah, jumped off the
stage and said this is a WrestleMania moment. And I saw that short 20-second clip on Twitter, and it was just like, huh. Without people yelling in the crowd, wrestling's way less entertaining than that normally.
And I will say what they did with WrestleMania was, with all things considered, Mania in itself was very good, but all the other bullshit's been awful. But
it's something else. So, final thoughts. Stacking?
Just ready for the draft. Let's get this.
Is this going to be Noah's first draft? Is he going to be watching?
I hope he watches. He was really ecstatic about Saquon Barkley a couple years ago.
How so? Since he was I don't know, 5 months old.
I have a video of it. He was just like, "Yeah, you like that pick?" Yeah. He's just shaking in his seat or whatever, and like, "Okay, that's good." Yeah. Hopefully he watches, and we'll see how it goes.
I have one final thought, and I almost forgot to bring this up. I'm glad I didn't, though. My one final thought, though, Stacking, I was following loosely from afar about your college basketball game, and you obviously with the South Dakota State in the title game, and I couldn't help myself. And even before I jumped back in the chat with these guys or whatever, I couldn't help myself from following it from afar. I legitimately was piss-ass drunk the night that you played and USC won the title, and I smoked cigars, I drank beer, I was so fucking happy. So I thank you for that. I really do.
You're welcome. It was a hard fought game, and you know what? The fact that we've made it to 3 championships is something else. And our recruiting we had the best class ever that we have coming in, and it's great. Now I saw something on SB Nation. They have this article on
they got a guy
on Western
Yeah,
Illinois, and he's just simulating through it. What the fuck is that?
Well,
Oh, I mean, come on.
He's apparently Western Illinois is like the worst team in the game. I've never gone through to actually look at rating wise who's the worst, but yeah. And he had a funny line in there about how, you know, the UL Calcutta thing for Centenary.
Mhm.
Really that, you know, just like Centenary didn't want to be a part of it, so 2K Sports like, screw it, we'll call you this stupid name, UL Calcutta. It just kept going. So
But it's still in the Golden Dome.
yeah, they can't call it the Gold Dome or whatever it was.
it is the most excited I've been watching anything in this past month.
Yep.
Fucking the shots at the end to force overtime, the goddamn shot to almost force a second overtime or to win it. I'm like, holy shit, what a game this is.
I had to console Javon Erickson after the game because he's a senior, but
Yeah.
he had a hell of a career
What
for
a
us.
career
And
that guy had.
Well, and I'm sure you told them, look, you've taken this program to places it's never been before. You know, it's
Out of many
what an accomplishment. You know,
Who did you beat in the semi?
who did it? Alabama.
So
They
it
were-
was
they were-
it was South Dakota State, Alabama, USC, and fucking Cal, was it?
yeah,
not?
I put that in the chat. I said that's the biggest miracle, 2 Pac-10 teams in the Final Four more than
it's-
SDSU making it.
It's crazy. Like the amount of upsets. You have a 2, a 3, an 8, and an 11. It's
Two
just
Pac-12 teams in the tournament, let alone the Final Four.
remember though back in 2K, back in like when 2K8 first came, it was the Pac-10. It wasn't even
Yeah,
the
they didn't even
Pac-12.
have Utah and Colorado.
Charlie, final thoughts.
I don't know. I'm excited to see who was the Daniel Jones early in the draft this year. It was like, what are you guys doing? This is the dumbest thing ever.
Oh, is that the one where?
Doing that.
Is this going to make Mina Kimes flip out like she did last year when that pick came through?
I look forward to Washington drafting Justin Herbert number 2.
Marcus Drexel.
I'm looking forward to the draft. We didn't talk much about the technology aspect, but I hope it's just a shit show.
It can't be this stuff. It just can't.
And I think it's gonna be weird with like ESPN and NFL Network basically showing the same thing. And I mean, I imagine there's basically one feed, you know, for the
Is it
whole.
basically just Goodell in his house going to announce the picks? Is that how
Yeah, it's gonna be in his
Yeah.
basement, I guess. And yeah, I don't know.
I like the idea of him like, there's been a big trade, and this team selects, and then it just pauses. It's like, what happened?
It's
Good
gonna
Lord,
it's gonna be
he
funny.
was laid down.
It's gonna be funny
I'm too excited.
when the glitch happens for Washington at 2 and Chase comes through and they accidentally say Chase Vinatieri instead of Chase Young.
Wow.
I want to also say that I'm, you know, like a lot of people, I'm looking forward to the draft just because we haven't had anything sports related aside from the Last Dance and the 1991 World Series continually on Fox Sports North that I've watched probably 6 times. So I felt like this year was my best year of preparation for the draft yet. I didn't even really get into it till like 2 weeks ago. So I scheduled it perfectly, and I'm really looking forward to sort of 3 days of just watching it. So.
Are we filling out
This is
a?
the first
Are we?
time since like college that I don't work in the evening, so I will be able to watch it also. I've not been able to watch the first round since I think like 2011 or 12.
Are we doing a spreadsheet like we have in previous years with our
Yes.
mock drafts?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we'll share it with you.
Okay.
Check your Facebook.
You're late. Crins and I both already have our picks in, so
Check your
don't cheat.
Facebook.
I was looking for the link and I don't see it.
I'm
at
good.
all.
Oh, I just sent it to you. Like the Dolphins, who the fuck knows what they're going to do here tomorrow? So we just got to wait and see on that.
Shoot themselves
there's-
in their own fins. That's what they're going to do.
Yeah, there's gonna be the big, you know, unpredictable trades, and that's gonna be great. So, and I agree. I'm just gonna pencil down Jordan Love as being the Daniel Jones pick, but I don't. It could be Justin Herbert, I suppose. So.
It's either somebody jumping away up to take Love, or it's Herbert falling quite a ways. It's one of those two.
That's possible.
NASCAR
Yeah,
could.
how would you feel if he fell all the way to Green Bay and then Green Bay had a third Hall of Fame quarterback in a row?
It's not funny at all.
Well, okay. I know Tampa wants to win the whole deal, but if he's there at 14, why not take him there? Need offensive tackle. Tampa at 14. No
Yeah,
Dallas.
wouldn't that be crazy?
You have my attention.
You have my attention. Ain't gonna happen, but there you go. So yes, NASCAR, I guess, or golf, I guess, might golf. NASCAR might be the next thing in May, June. We'll see.
Well, you're not counting virtual NASCAR on.
Yeah, let's not say bad
We've had a
words.
lot, yeah. We've had a lot of guys get, yeah. Somehow it's more deadlier than the real thing.
Yeah,
Don't say the bad word, the magic word, you stupid idiot.
I'm very excited for golf to come back because that's just another thing where it'd be great to have it on TV again. Even though 3
That'd be
weeks
the easiest and the safest thing to put on.
and the majors in the fall will be great, but the idea of potentially having the Ryder Cup and not having a crowd, that would suck hard. So
The Masters is brilliantly scheduled the week that the SEC teams play fucking
Yep.
Gardner Webb and all the other bullshit.
that's beautiful.
And you know then that CBS won't carry the doubleheader that weekend.
No.
Well, they might not. I mean, we haven't seen the schedule yet. They might try to make a trade with NBC for a Sunday night game or something. I
That
mean,
makes a lot of sense.
possible.
Yeah.
When's the golf thing with Tiger and Peyton and Phil and Tom Brady?
Next month sometime. They haven't set
So
a
like
date.
Memorial Day weekend.
Normally I don't know if I care that much about that. Next month I will almost certainly watch that then.
Yeah,
For the trash talk.
somebody pointed out that like it's got to be a scramble so that Tiger's got to hit Peyton's shitty shots or whatever, and
Oh yeah, definitely.
Tiger will bitch because well, never mind. They'll use Tiger's ball, whatever Tiger wants to play. They'll play. But that was the whole big thing when Tiger and Phil played in the Ryder Cup. That Phil bitched because he couldn't get used to Tiger's ball and all that. So I want them to have to play the same ball. They won't do that, but so
You got Tiger and Phil, have like Trump and like Jordan. Tiger Woods can go with Trump. Jordan can go with Phil.
yeah. If
You imagine the side bets that Jordan and Phil would have. My God,
oh my God, call the SEC insider trading right
That
now.
would be a 30 for 30 in itself that I also
on the 6 tee box, Phil's down like $6 million. He starts crying. No, that's enough. That's enough, Mike. I don't want to bet anymore. Fuck you.
But he doesn't feel comfortable. He's
winning
down a couple million.
All right, 2 hours in, we'll call it a show. Schottenkirk, Stacking, Marcus, Charlie. NFL draft tomorrow. We'll see ya probably next week.
Tomorrow night.
Tomorrow
See
night.
you tomorrow night.